Today, we're going to be breaking down which Injustice game is better. Is it Injustice Gods Among Us or is it Injustice 2? Let's get into it. First of all, roster. Now, Injustice Gods Among Us has way more iconic characters than Injustice 2 in my opinion, like Raven, Shazam, Hawkgirl, Lex Luthor, Slade, and many more. While Injustice 2 tries to do some newer characters like Firestorm and Blue Beetle, or some other not as much popular characters like Swamp Thing, for example. Like, honestly, I think the first time that I really heard of Swamp Thing was from Injustice 2 back in 2017. Next up, stages. Now, while Injustice 2's stages are more bright and saturated, I do think that the darker tone for the Injustice Gods Among Us stages are much better. Also, there are just more cameos in the Injustice Gods Among Us stages. For example, we have Gorilla Grodd. We also have, well, we don't really see Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze, but we do kind of get a hint since you can see their cells, their jail cells in the Arkham Asylum stage. And there are just overall more iconic stages in Injustice Gods Among Us like Themyscira and the Hall of Justice. Now, the Batcave, Metropolis, Fortress of Solitude, and Arkham Asylum, we do have them in Injustice Gods Among Us and Injustice 2, but in Injustice Gods Among Us, they're just way better. And the stage transitions in Injustice Gods Among Us are also better. We have way more cameos in those, and they're just more exciting and interesting. Now the lobby. This point I'm gonna give to the Injustice 2 game for only one reason, and that reason is that the lobby in Injustice 2 is just way cleaner than the one in Injustice Gods Among Us. This is my opinion, you can have a different opinion, but the lobby in Injustice Gods Among Us kind of looks like something that would come out of a mobile game. Character dialogues. Now, I don't know if this is really fair, because in Injustice Gods Among Us, we kind of don't even have character dialogues. Well, we do when there's a clash, but when I say character dialogues, I mean at the beginning of a match. In Injustice Gods Among Us, we don't have actual dialogues between the characters. They just do their, like, normal intro. But yeah, they don't actually have any interactions with the fight, with the person they're going against. They just say the exact same phrase every time you pick the character. So, character dialogues, I'm giving it to Injustice 2. Now, the character designs. Injustice 2 has the most customization in any NetherRealm game to date. So I think it's only fair to give this point to Injustice 2 again. I won't compare the graphics because it won't really be fair since each game came out in a different time, so I won't be comparing graphics. Story. The story in Injustice 2 is interesting. It's not the best. The villain's pretty lacking, like it didn't really like Brainiac. I don't think we saw much of him. He wasn't very menacing in the story mode, and I also don't really like his design very much. But while in Injustice Gods Among Us, we have the, like, kind of the original Injustice story mode, I guess you can say, and it was just way better. The main villain being Superman, and you know, having the whole regime thing, it was just way better. So for the story mode, I'm giving this point to Injustice Gods Among Us. Victory poses. Now, I know this is a weird thing to, like, compare, but honestly, it's kind of a big thing for me, because I really enjoy victory poses, but in Injustice Gods Among Us, they're kind of boring, especially the Flashes, for example, or Ravens. But there are also some more exciting ones in Injustice Gods Among Us, like Batman's, Batgirl's, Catwoman's, while the Injustice 2 victory poses are kind of just lame. Okay, so let's compare. So in Injustice Gods Among Us, Batman's victory pose was him standing on top of a building in Arkham and watching over the city, while the victory pose for Batman in Injustice 2 is just throwing some batarangs at the screen. Like, you see what I mean? The Injustice Gods Among Us victory poses are way more detailed. They give the characters more character. And lastly, I have DLC. And if you haven't guessed it already, Injustice Gods Among Us is also gonna take this point. Now, Injustice 2 does have more DLC characters and does have, like, more collabs, I guess you can say, like TMNT or Hellboy. But I didn't really care much about those, honestly. Like, I didn't even know who Hellboy was until Injustice 2. And then I looked him up and watched his movies. But yeah, I didn't know Hellboy. And the TMNT, they were a cool ad, but I just never see myself using them. While in Injustice Gods Among Us, we have more iconic characters like Zatanna, Scorpion, Martian Manhunter, Batgirl, Zod, Lobo, and I bet if we got more DLC characters in Injustice Gods Among Us, we could have gotten Beast Boy, or hell, even John Constantine, or Etrigan, or Booster Gold. Because Injustice Gods Among Us made sure to include only iconic characters. So our final score is 5 points for Injustice Gods Among Us and 3 points for Injustice 2. So our obvious winner here is Injustice Gods Among Us. Let me know what your opinion about Injustice 2 and Injustice Gods Among Us is down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.